right, welcome class to this edition of Tech Talk University. I want everybody to be on their best behavior. We have a special guest today, and it is our accrediting agency is actually live on the screen, Bob's Adventure. He's very nervous. I think this is the first time he's ever been on a live stream, right? Now, what you said?
It's the first time I've ever done it.
So he's really, really nervous. So just give him a warm, kind, Tech Talk University welcome. I was going to say we don't have a mascot, but I guess we do. Talon's our mascot. So, go Talon. and so thanks for everybody for coming here as usual. This is a college class, so, we don't take roll. It's on your honor to be here. You're paying for the class. Again, the cost is always, the cost went up, right? Then the cost went up for this edition of Tech Talk University because now you have to watch an ad before you actually can go into the classroom. I would appreciate it if you'd watch the whole ad, but I understand if you don't. And just some real quick stuff on being monetized and ads and stuff. And Justin and Christina's in here, so they know for sure. Daydream about nice things. He knows too. He just said, I just saw my first Our Epic advertisement, but wasn't an Epic advertisement. That's the thing. To help out, if you really want to help out the channels, and this is for all channels, obviously, if you really want to help out that channel, let the ad play all the way through, because Linda Barker, wow, thank you. That is the first super chat we've ever gotten ever.
Nice.
So thank you, because this is the first live stream we've done since we've been monetized. So thank you. That wasn't necessary. And in the great, words of Justin, you didn't have to, but you did. I love it when he says that. It cracks me up every time. But let the ad play all the way through, because the channel gets paid based on how long you watch the ad. So that's it. And again, with super chats too, if you super chat from an iPhone, the channel is only going to get 40% of whatever you send. So if you send $100 super chat with an iPhone, the person is only going to get $40. Apple's going to get 30, and YouTube's going to get 30. YouTube gets 30 no matter what super chat method you use. But if you use an iPhone or Apple Pay, we still haven't figured out exactly which one it is yet. But then Apple gets a 30% cut. So just keep that in mind when you're supporting channels. So why in the world would I have some dude that lives in a van? Wait a minute, he's our accrediting authority. I can't talk about him about it. But in all seriousness, why in the world are you here, Bob? Why did I beg you? Well, I didn't beg you. I asked you and you said yes, because you're that kind of cool guy. But why are you here? What words of wisdom are you going to impart on our classroom today?
Well, we're going to talk about adding Stream Elements bot or other bots to your chat. So if you've been in my chat room and you see the bots in there posting links to whether it's my affiliate links or to people that have donated or the guest or other messages, it's a way for you to make your chat flow a little bit better, and then also allow your moderators to be engaged with the people that are in your chat room and not worrying about posting links or any of the information.
Yeah, so especially for a one-person operation like Bob here. Wow, I even pointed the right way the first time.
You did.
Hang of this, man. I'm getting the hang of this. These bots can really, really, really make your life easier. And even if you have a lot of moderators for your live streams, it makes their jobs easier too, because they can concentrate on other things versus, I wouldn't call them mundane things, but the things a good moderator really has to do, like dropping those links to guests and things like that all the time. So it takes that burden out of the hand, especially when you have multiple moderators and they're not necessarily paying attention. They can't pay close attention. So the next thing you know, you got 5 moderators all dropping the same link, boom, 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 at the same time. And then the chat just scrolls up and you kind of lose your place.
Yep.
So help out about. So what I've intentionally not done is I haven't installed any bots at all. So what we're going to do here is, Bob, this is kind of a throwback to the old days of the Daydream Morning Show when I would be on there a lot and we'd talk some tech stuff and I'd walk Gary through installing something. We were just talking before we started about that go to channel, I don't know, 3-day live stream that Gary and I did. At least it felt that way, where we talked about, adding this plugin for go to channel. So we're going to do the same thing here. Hopefully, well, I guarantee you it's not going to be 3 hours. But we're going to get what we can get done in an hour. So, Bob, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I haven't looked up any bots at all purposely, because I wanted to be blind at this, and I wanted you to walk me through this. So I guess what is the first thing I need to do?
You go to streamelements.com.
Okay, let me go ahead and share a screen here. And again, while I'm sharing the screen, I can't see chat. I can't spell either, apparently. So I got both of those things going against me.
and then here, so you can have different accounts that you use the StreamBot on, but if you're going to use YouTube, you would continue with YouTube, and then you can log in with your YouTube, like you log in with Google, basically.
Okay.
And so you would select it, yeah, and then it'll ask you for, your brand account, and ask you for the permissions, all that stuff. And it's something that you want to look at that, but you can always take permissions away from things as well in your settings.
Yeah, this is one thing I get a lot of questions on whenever that somebody adds something to Google Chrome or something that, or even like with TubeBuddy, where it basically comes up with the same screen asking permissions to do stuff. And they ask me, is it safe? And for the most part, it is. But like it says down here, make sure you trust Stream Elements. So, make sure the website is actually, the legit website and not some fake mirror site. So you don't end up with like, Russian bots or Chinese bots on your computer that you don't even know are there because they're doing other things.
Yep. And so once you allow it, it'll go through the page. It'll pop up here eventually, hopefully. But okay, so there's different things on here that you can do. But basically, you have activate the chat bot, which you can hit activate there, and then it should pop in there. But what you're going to want to do, there's two ways. You can activate it now. Okay. And it may start popping in, but what you have to do is once it's in there, you need to add it as a moderator. And there's two ways you can do it. You can add it when it's in there in your chat like you would, or you can add it in your YouTube settings under, I believe it's community. You would paste the URL for the Stream Elements channel in there and click add moderator.
Okay.
And then once it's added as a moderator, then you can go ahead and have it post links. And that's
so I'm working on adding it as a moderator. So tell me how I do that again.
You go under settings in Studio. So it's a little gear icon. And then I believe it's under community. If you click on that, it should show moderators. It should show you a list of moderators in there. And then in that box, you paste the Stream Elements URL. And then it should like have a little drop down box that comes down with Stream Elements, but you add that to your moderator.
Where do I find that URL?
You can go to the Stream Elements YouTube page. So if you just type in Stream Elements, it'll pull up that channel, and that's the channel that you want to add, which you do just like if you were sharing it. You go to share URL or share channel, and then just copy the link, and then paste that in there.
Okay, so I need to find the stream. See, I'm doing this really slow, so everybody can hear, and if anybody's following on, they can. So I find the Stream Elements YouTube page, right?
Yep, Stream Elements channel will be Stream Elements, and this goes for a lot, like any of the other bot programs that you use. Like I have Nightbot. It's the same process. Same thing. You need to add them as a moderator, and there's different functions on them. But that's going real deep into it. But the process is the same. No matter which one you want to use, you need to add that bot as a moderator to your channel.
All right, so I've added that, and we've talked about it in previous classes, and it's pretty easy to add. If you didn't add a moderator, and if you didn't see, because I kind of clicked on the box too fast here, when you did click on activate, the box that came up with actually told you what to do, and it actually had a link to the YouTube Studio page to where you would add the moderator. So if you're not sure how to do that.
Yeah, so, and that's new, by the way. They didn't have that when I first signed up, and I'd forgotten to add it as a moderator, so that's where I had a lot of problems.
Now, gotcha.
While you're in this page, where you go to add, and this is what took me a little bit to figure out.
Hang on a second, Bob. I just realized something. Okay. I can't see super chats most of the time. So if anybody does send one, and I'm not asking you to at all, and I don't expect you to, but if you do, if I don't see it, I apologize, but I will shout you out on the next show. So I'm not being, snooty. Yeah, that's the word, snooty.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm still back here.
Okay.
I'm looking at Stream Elements.
Right. So now you want to scroll down on the far left-hand side where your thing is, and you'll go down to timers. Which is probably under bot. Drop the bot menu there.
All right, I dropped the bot, and there's timers.
There's timers. So now in timers, this is where you add your links, or if you want to say something chat, you just create a new timer. And then here the top box is for naming it, so you can have it, like if you want to keep using it, like advertisement or whatever, you can do that. And then you'll put in a message, whatever message you want, or the link, or whatever. And then on the right-hand side, if you guys are looking while he's doing it, that's how you set up how often you want to post. The offline is just a timer when it's offline. I don't really mess with that too long. It just starts when the timer starts counting. But the main ones you want to do is how many chat lines and then how often. So if you only want to post when you have a really active chat, you would increase the chat lines and then however many minutes. So if it's like at 5 minutes in or 10 minutes or whatever you set it as, basically whenever you start your stream, 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in, whatever you have it set at, it's going to post that message in chat. And then if you click activate, it will pop it in there and it will add it to your timer list. Now that's where you that's where you add those kind of things to your sorry, I popped out there. That's where you add it to your system. So each one you want, and you got to realize there's a character limit. And this is what I like about Stream Elements. It shows you how many characters you have left. So if you want to put a URL in there, you need to make sure you're under that character limit, or it's going to split it off into another message, and then your URL won't work. So that's one thing that I've noticed.
And if you do have a really long URL, there's a lot of websites out there that just Google URL shortener or URL abbreviation, something like that, and you'll come up with a lot of different websites out there that'll shorten URLs for you, and then you can fit them in there pretty easily. But I wanted to talk real quick about these timers stuff on the right hand side. If you look, it's really hard to see because they made the see if I can highlight it here so you can actually read it better.
Made the text the same color as the background almost.
Yeah. You see, the minimum amount of chat lines in the last 5 minutes required to activate the timer. So since I have the timer set for 5 minutes, that's why it says that. So if the way it's set now, if only 2 lines of chat pop up in the last 5 minutes, this will not work. It's got to have 5 lines, and that's just something to keep in mind. Like Bob was talking about with the active chat versus an inactive chat. So because one thing you definitely don't want is whatever that message is, you don't want it dropping constantly. You don't want it to fill up your whole chat.
Yep. And that's where you're going to have to play with the timers and stuff like that. It's going to depend on your chat, how often you want it to show up. And like, I still play with mine. That's just something you're going to have to adjust to how you like it. Now, I do everything on the phone, so I have to set up a lot of it before I get going, because it's hard to do set them up at the same time. But if you're on a computer, you can kind of sit there and watch your bot and then kind of adjust it to the flow of your chat.
Yeah. I will tell you, I was in a chat last week, and they had a bot set up to drop a message. And hey, we got our other professor showing up here. There's Professor. Nice. How you doing? Can you hear me, Dustin?
I don't know if we can hear you.
Hey.
Can you hear us now?
What's up? Can you hear me?
Hey, we're adding bots to our live stream. And remember, be on your best behavior, because that's our accrediting authority right there.
Okay, cool.
That's our accreditation.
I still have my headphones plugged in. I'm like, what can I hear you?
But like I was saying, I was in this live stream, and the guy had a bot set up to thank his subscribers individually, and he had like 12,000 subscribers.
Wow!
And it just rolled that chat, and he couldn't do anything about it. So be very careful if you're going to set up bots with messages. With what you do, how you do it, the frequency. It's probably not a bad idea to play with it in a private, unlisted chat before you go public with it, just to make sure it actually works right. Because you really don't want to have, because I've seen some of these bots actually kick people out for no reason, or load up the chat with whatever you had the message was. So you just need to be real careful.
Yeah, and Stream Elements, I've noticed, is pretty good about not kicking people out of chat. Nightbot is really a really thing, but the thing you can do with these bots is it's up to you to how much control you give them. So you can make it so that all they do is post in there and they don't do any moderation. That's what you really need to look at. And there's way more advanced stuff you can do with these bots. You can have them respond to people. There's variables for all that. But just basically posting the links, that's simple. And then the other thing I was going to show you guys is the tipping settings. If you go up into that one, up above, that's where you can. It's under revenue. Yeah. Now they do take, I think it's like 20 cents or something like that per donation that's made through this. But what this is this panel allows somebody to, with that link, which is what you can have added to the bot, it'll give you the link. But when somebody tips through this, it'll go into your PayPal, but it will also pop up in the chat. And if you have the overlay, I don't know how you can add the overlay on StreamYard, but if you add the overlay, it will also pop up on screen. But this is a way for you, especially if you're not monetized yet, for you to have basically super chats in your stream. So you can set up this page and change the background, all kind of stuff. But all you need to do to connect it to your PayPal is just put in your email address. It doesn't actually log into your PayPal. It's just an interface for you to put in your information of who tipped you and how much you're tipping, so that it pops up on the screen and the actual transaction is over PayPal.
Yeah, and as you can see here, you can replace the images with whatever you want. You can get a custom design.
Yep.
Over here, you got tip settings. That's where Bob was talking about connecting, and you can just enter your PayPal address there.
Yep. And then you can go through and change all the variables of it that you want. You can change the minimum amount, maximum amount, dollars, euros.
Look at all this, man. We can even do Canadian money. I mean, it's crazy. You can do anything here. Do euros.
And the really nice thing about Stream Elements, and you'll see when this is why I suggest that even if you don't want to use any of the timers and you don't want to use a tipping thing, I suggest you get it because after every live stream, it will send you an email with a graph of how you did, the maximum amount of people that you had in there. If you got any subscribers, that's another thing that Stream Elements would do. And you guys can try it in there. If you unsubscribe from Epic, and if you were to resubscribe, it will say thank you for subscribing. So it has a lot of pop-up abilities, which is why I like it. The best is the main one for you to use, but there's no cost on Stream Elements. There, like I said, there's a little fee that it takes for when people tip, but there's no actual cost to use it.
Good. Hang on. I'm trying to multitask here. Sorry.
No problem.
So really, the biggest thing again. It helps at least start small. If you're going to use something like this, start small. If you're going to use a tipping feature, this is the biggest thing right here. I think makes the big difference is the automatic tip message, where you can turn that on, and that way when somebody does send money to that, it will,
it pops it up in chat.
Yeah, it'll pop it up in the chat. So. And that's the big deal right there, because you want to anybody who donates money to you, no matter how they donate it, you want to obviously thank them and recognize them, because it's certainly something they didn't have to do. So that's the big thing on that.
And it makes it so that your PayPal ones get recognized just as much as somebody that super chats. Now modules. There might be a way to add more, but here's where you can, like, chat alerts. You'll want to turn that one on. That's when somebody subscribes and when somebody and the tip and all that kind of stuff. So you want those ones on. But so you can change the messages. This is the thing. See, like, you can go in and change every single little detail to really set it up as your own bot for your chat. And then the bottom one on there is 8-ball. I think they may add more modules. There may be a way to add modules. I'm just getting started on it. So there's really deep stuff you can go in and do with these. And if you've been to anybody's chat, now that's the 8-ball, where somebody can ask a question and do ! 8-ball. And if that's on, they'll get a response from it. But the thing I found out is you can delete all those responses and you can make your own responses. So you could say, ask Wayward Wags what you should do as a response or whatever. So it's kind of really neat to get in there and play with, and it just adds to your stream.
That's cool.
Pretty cool.
Yep. So this is
stream tweets in real time to your YouTube chat.
Now that one I would I wouldn't suggest that one. Teresa Minted VRV, and she had it on. But you might be able to change it, but it was reading off tweets from the official Stream Elements account. So there may be a way to change it. And then, here's all your commands. So once you're in there, there's different commands you can use, and you can learn those. I don't know any of them yet or haven't really punched them in, but there's all kinds of stuff that you can do with these things that is just really incredible. But just setting up the timers is real easy, and then you're going to have to go in there and really play with it. And I'm still learning it, but there's a lot that you can do. And if you're going to, and there's the spam filter. So if you wanted to turn something on where you wanted it to, if you want it to moderate, you can have it moderate. So, and it can time out people and all that kind of stuff. It's just how much control do you want it to have? And me, I'm like, I'll let the people that are there kind of watch out for that, since I have people there. But if you're somebody that you don't have that many people there yet, and you don't really have moderators, that's something that you can add in there to kind of add a little protection for yourself.
That's cool. That looked pretty easy. Anything else with that, Bob?
Nope. That's that, as far as I know, that's the two things. And then, like I said, you'll want to add, your tipping link into a bot to have it put that in there in your chat. But this is just something that makes it brings you to the next level. If you go into any big streamers, you'll see them have bots, and this is the easiest one that I found to set up, and it had decent functionality in it.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. Does anybody, because if you had questions, none of us were paying attention. So if you have any questions about Stream Elements specifically or bots in general, just as always, just type the word question in all caps and then type in your question, and hopefully we'll see it.
Yep.
So while we're waiting for some questions to possibly roll in, Professor Wags, what is your current location?
We are in Dover, Delaware.
How's the bridge?
We didn't go over the Chesapeake Bay yet. That's next week on our way from Dover down to Virginia Beach.
How did you get there? Did you take 301 or did you go up through Maryland? I mean, way up through Maryland.
Yeah, we didn't go way up through Maryland. We did take 301 across the
that little tiny bridge in Dahlgren.
Yeah, I forget what the name of it is.
Yeah, how was that bridge?
It wasn't terrible. It wasn't a windy day today, so it wasn't bad at all.
Yeah. This is a 2-lane toll bridge, and it's about that wide, both lanes total.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. But we did today, after we hooked up, we went on top of the roof and measured the total height of the RV, because next week we are going to be going down through the Chesapeake Bay Bridge / tunnel, and the max clearance is 13 feet 6 inches.
That's tight.
Yeah.
I'm 13.2. So yeah. Lynn, Shelley is out and about. She should be here in about an hour.
Oh, cool.
And any other questions? Or I don't think I've missed any. So you got any gambling planned while you're in Dover?
Yeah. No, Leslie's not a gambler. She likes her money.
I won $500 about 20 years ago there on a nickel slot machine.
Really? Yeah, I
That's
don't even know if they're open right now. I mean, it's kind of crazy still, so I don't know if they're even allowing people back.
Yeah, that's a lot of nickels.
Yeah.
Where's your Wi-Fi video you mentioned posting? I hadn't made it yet. Work has been pretty crazy. Now, I do have 2 videos about using Visible wireless, Visible by Verizon for internet. And what you're talking about is I just purchased a different plan with a different provider and a really, really, really cool router that I haven't. I'm using it right now, actually. And this little guy here will jump between multiple Wi-Fi sources. So if it senses one's better than the other one, it'll jump to the other one. So you can just like with the Streamlabs bots, you can set the timers on it for how often it checks. So and I've seen it work, and it works pretty good. The only problem is it doesn't. It's supposed to give you a notification when it switches, and I haven't figured out why it's not doing that, because I have that box checked. Because it's one thing when you're on a campground Wi-Fi or an unmetered Wi-Fi source, and you're watching, a 4K movie on Netflix. But it's another thing when you have, an AT&T, you switched over to an AT&T source that only has maybe 100 gig a month allowance, and you're going to use more than that just to watch your movie. So you really need to know what source you're on. So until I can get that bug worked out, or at least figure out that it's unworkable, then I can't. So question, will you come to me at 2 a.m. when I can't sleep? I don't even know what that means, but it's kind of weird. How many SIM cards you insert? Okay. This particular router has 2 SIM card slots, and it can also connect to a hardwired and a Wi-Fi source. So you can actually have a total of 4 different internet sources. So
interesting.
It's pretty cool. Plus, it's its own Plus, it's also a router on its own, so you don't need a separate router to hook all your stuff up to.
Right.
Cool.
So it works out. It works out really well with all that. It's just that I've got to work out some bugs, do some testing, and then figure out, and then do the video. But we probably got another video coming out tomorrow that has nothing to do with tech stuff. It's but it does have to do with some kind of tech stuff, because NASCAR is pretty technical, right, Dustin?
Oh yeah, super technical.
Yeah, so we have a NASCAR related video probably coming out tomorrow. We haven't decided if it's going to come out tomorrow or not, but cool. You may see some familiar faces in it. That's all I got to say.
Nice.
Who is that down there that said Rayleigh Creative Travel? Said their RV is 13 foot 3 inches, so they'd be nervous. Yeah, that's what ours measured at, 13.3. But we did get on. So here's a tech talk tip: if you ever concerned about anything about your rig, the Facebook forums are awesome. So get on a Facebook forum that is related to your rig type, size, make, model, whatever, and just ask the question. And that's exactly what I did. We're on the forum for the Montana 3121 RL owners, and I simply just asked, has anybody taken their RV over the Chesapeake Bay Bridge and through the tunnel? And several people said that they had. And so I got up measured mine, even though it's only a couple inches clearance, and other people have done it. That makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, and that's a great tip for any whatever RV you own. I'll guarantee you there's at least a Facebook group for the manufacturer, and there's probably a Facebook group or more than one Facebook group for your specific model. Maybe not your floor plan, but your specific model, like a Jayco Greyhawk or a Jayco Whitehawk, or, like I'm in the Tiffin Open Road group, which I really feel like the little engine that could sitting here. I am the smallest RV by far as I look around me. And these 40-foot plus beasts going by. Plus, for those of you who watched my 3-hour I Was Bored live stream last week, you guys got to see the custom painted red, white, and blue Tiffin Zephyr, which that thing was probably close to $800,000-$900,000.
Wow.
So if you got that kind of cash, just saying. I don't. I'm doing the inverter confusing today. I finally bought, I guess you're doing inverter install. Yeah. A lot of, if you have an RV that does not have a lot of RVs don't come with decent inverters. If they do have one, like the inverter on our previous, we had a 32-foot Class C. The inverter on it was 1,200 watts, I think. It was literally the inverter you like go into Walmart and buy that hardwires in and has a plug on it. So it was no heavy duty inverter on by any stretch, and it only powered a few plugs, and that's really all it could power. But if you are really looking at getting out there and powering all your plugs and stuff like that going down the road, a big inverter is a good investment. And if you can really swing it, a pure sine wave inverter is the way to go. And there's a big difference in cost between a pure sine wave and a regular inverter. I wasn't prepared to really talk about the differences between the two, but let's just say it's worth the money, especially if you have sensitive electronic equipment. Shelly's in here 2 hours. I thought she was a little closer than that, but I was just guessing. So, Shelly, I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but Talon and I just got back to the campsite right before this tech talk. So, got a lot of work done today, though. So that's good. So, any other questions about the bots? If not, we'll move on to any other topics that you guys have tech related. Again, when I say tech related, it doesn't have to be YouTube channel related or even social media or internet related. It can be, what kind of air compressor should I buy, or do I really need a tire pressure monitoring system, things like that. And and I will say this, because now that I said that, I got to throw this out there. I saw this on Facebook today in one of the groups. So this guy was asking about tire pressure management systems, and this one person got on there. I've been RVing for over 30 years and I've never owned one. I don't see the point. And somebody said, well, have you ever had any blowouts or flats going down the road? And he said, yeah. What difference does that make? I'm like, oh my God. That's what they help prevent. Well, they don't help prevent, but they definitely will help you reduce the amount of damage.
Yeah.
Well, they can prevent blowouts.
They can. Yeah.
Because if you see the temperature really spiking or the pressure's going way crazy, then to roll over on the side of the road, and if you got that slow leak, the alarm will go off and you'll get over on the side of the road. Especially if you're pulling a lighter weight travel trailer, you can at least be able to maybe plug the tire to get you to the next spot to actually get that tire replaced. Yeah. Versus maybe getting a new rim, getting the siding fixed on your travel trailer because the tire blew apart and tore up the whole side of your rig. Yep. and that kind of stuff. So yeah. And again, it's an investment worth the money.
What some people don't realize is not just for your own rig and for your own safety. I mean, your tire can come off. It could damage someone else's car. You're liable for that damage. It could cause someone else to wreck their car. You're liable for those injuries. Just a whole plethora of issues that can be, prevented by a couple $100 worth of tire pressure monitoring system.
Yeah. Now I use, and what Blaine's talking about here is I have the EEZ TPMS. That's what we use, and it works great. And there's another one out there, TRT, I think is what it is. I think those are the two top ones, and one's really about as good as the other. And so I don't think you're going to worry about buying one and then a better one or more improved one will come out. I mean, that stuff happens with anything technology related. But while you're waiting, you're playing poker with the devil, so I bought our TPMS, over a year ago. Right now, mine has a black and white screen. Okay, now they have one that has a color screen.
Who cares? Yeah.
Yes. So I can see I don't know, maybe the temperatures change colors when they start going up or down. I don't know. But it's a color screen. But I like the EZ because it was economical for the amount of sensors I need. Because I need 2, 4, 6. I need 10.
Yeah.
And it also came with an antenna booster. But I've never installed it. But you use the booster to reach the ones way in the back. But I've got a 36-foot rig, and I also put sensors on our Chevy Equinox we tow behind us, and I picked those sensors up easily, piece of cake. So without using the booster. And as those batteries go down in those sensors, I'll probably have trouble. So one day I'll install the booster because I'm carrying it around now, so I might as well install it. But Paul's in here. Hey, our reviews of the Air Force guy, and I guarantee he'll say the same thing. A TPMS is critical, and on that same note, an EMS, an electrical management system, not just a surge protector, but an EMS. A surge protector protects you from surges. An EMS will protect you from surges. It'll protect you from brownout conditions. It'll protect you from a lot of stuff that the EMS, that a regular surge protector won't. And the one I like and use, and has actually saved my RV and probably all my stuff, was one made by Progressive Industries. Because when we actually went RV shopping for this, we were at the campground at Lazy Days and plugged in, and the next thing I know, after we plugged in an hour or so, we lost all power. I walk outside and there's smoke coming out of because it was built. I had the built-in version of the EMS. There was smoke coming out of it, and of course, I hit the breaker and unplugged, and my cord was fried at the connection. So, was it over? Was it under? Either one can really do that kind of damage. So, having an EMS, and I see these on people all the time. What's a good cheap EMS or a good cheap surge protector? Well, you get good, you get cheap.
Either or.
Yeah, you don't get both. And honestly, if you and again, I've heard people say, "Well, I've been RVing for years. We've never had one. I've never had a problem." Good for you. I haven't been in a car accident in a long time, but I still have car insurance. Because the one time you need that $200-300 EMS and you don't have it, you're talking probably, depending on your RV, it's probably totaled out because the cost to repair it is more than it's worth. Because they're going to probably have to replace just about every single wire inside of your RV. So they just about have to take the whole thing apart and rebuild it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, that's if it doesn't catch on fire. So, you make the decision what you want to do. Have you ever camped in an RV in Europe? No, but that would be cool. We were actually talking about this on another live stream. I was talking about that with Ricky and Barbara, and I guess, Dustin, you need to hear this too. Talking about going to England, renting RVs, going through the Channel, and camping in France and Belgium and places like that.
Yeah.
Ricky said he was buying.
Yeah. It is really cool. I mean, I haven't been there in an RV, but I did get, when we were stationed in Germany, I got the opportunity to visit Normandy and see like Omaha Beach and just where all that history took place in World War II. It's actually blocks away from where Leslie's uncle was killed in World War II. So really just interesting stuff up there. If you ever get a chance to go in an RV or not, go to Normandy.
Yep. Now, I missed out on this because I didn't find out about it until after I bought it. But I used to own a BMW motorcycle, and back when they had it, but I had it back in the early 2000s. So we're going to be getting thunderstorms here, apparently. I don't know if y'all heard that, but me and Talon sure did. But they had a program where you can actually go pick up your motorcycle at the factory. I think it's in Munich, somewhere in Germany. And then it was a guided tour. You drive all over these different European countries, and you go to France. You put it on a boat in France to ship over, and then you fly over and pick it up on the other side.
Wow, that's cool.
So that would have been cool to do. But there's a lot of cool stuff, not just Germany, but Europe. And why does this guy keep saying they love Bob's Adventure? What's up with that crap? I don't know. But Germany's actually my favorite country to visit. And it's getting windy out here too. Mainly because, I like beer and I like food, and they got great, both of those, abundantly. And so I hope Shelly's not driving in this too bad. That's a big, nasty cloud. So, an EMS is good. I highly recommend it. Progressive Industries. They have a lifetime warranty on their stuff. So if it does blow, unless it blew like mine blew, where the whole thing blew apart, but even then, they will replace it. And in the way their EMS is, at least the hardwired one. And we're getting rocked right now. The hardwired one is, there's obviously components that are meant to blow. That's to protect the stuff behind it. But and they're just capacitors, and they're easy to replace. And you can just call Progressive Industries and say, "Yeah, I blew these capacitors blew." And okay, we'll send you some more in the mail. And then it takes it's a 5-minute job to swap them out. Anybody can do it with a screwdriver. So you can't beat that with a stick. So I see it all the time. People are like, what are must-haves for a new RVer? Well, we just talked about two: a TPMS and an EMS. Protect your life with both of those. I mean, they really are. They will protect your life. I've seen
and then a water pressure regulator too.
An adjustable water pressure regulators. I'll even take with the gauge on it. Yeah. And they're like $20-$30 at Lowe's or Home Depot or wherever. So they're not super expensive, but you definitely want a water pressure gauge. And I sure hope that Allegro bus doesn't roll over on me because we're getting rocked. But if it does, I guess I get a new RV, right? So, but yeah, those are the big things. And spend the money and not to be rude, but if you can't afford those, then maybe you should look at buying a smaller RV so you can afford those, a less expensive RV. Because it's literally just that important. It's and the same thing comes around when it comes to tire time. Don't go buy the cheapest tires you can find. Car stories you see about people getting in wrecks, tires blowing, it's because they bought cheap tires. Most of them aren't even rated for the weight they're carrying. Yeah. And then on top of that, they overinflate them because they look on the sidewall and the sidewall says, maximum tire pressure is this. They're like, oh, okay, well, I'll put it to that. Like, no, you need to put it on whatever the manufacturer tells you. You can go to almost any tire manufacturer's website with the weight of your axles. That's how much weight is on your axles. And I'll tell you how much air to put in each of your tires. Don't go by the sticker on the door. Don't go by what some dude on Facebook says. Go by what the manufacturer says, because if you do run into an accident, you do have a problem, and the insurance, first thing the insurance company is going to do is try to find a way not to pay. That's just flat out. And if they can prove that you have your tires over or underinflated, and that can be traced back as a cause of that accident, well, guess what? They're not paying. And now it's raining hard. So, so if I lose you guys, I apologize, but here we are.
The other thing is the manufacturer will also tell you the speed that those tires are rated at. And when I see people rolling down the highway doing 80 miles an hour, it don't matter what kind of tires you got. When you're rolling down, no RV tires are rated for 80 miles an hour. Yep,
that's true. Justin, I have the Easy one, and there's the other one, I think it's called the TRT, and it's a little bit more expensive than the Easy, but they're both, to me, and from what I've seen, they're both kind of equal as far as quality goes, and they both work well. It just depends on whichever one you like when you look at them. Whichever one might be on sale.
And we have Tire Minder, and it works great also.
What do you have? Tire Minder?
Tire Minder, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was the other one I was trying to think of earlier. I got to crank up my volume now so I can hear you guys.
Yeah, it sounds like it's coming down pretty good there.
Yeah, we're getting shaken pretty good too. So yeah, and Shelly's driving in this, so I hope she pulls over perhaps, Shelly, because I know you're still listening. Maybe you don't need to be here 2 hours. Maybe you need to be here in a little more time. Wait this out. That'd be fine. Tal and I will be more than happy to wait for you. We're not going anywhere because you have the car anyway. So bring in one spot. So, from a safety perspective, also buy a stinking fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
And I'm telling my too, we got a fire extinguisher right here, right behind the camera is our door. Okay. So the door is right behind the passenger seat. That's where the fire extinguisher is, right by the passenger seat. Okay. What happens if I'm in my bedroom and a fire starts off in the kitchen?
Yeah.
I'm not getting to that fire extinguisher.
Yep.
So multiple fire extinguishers, and they don't take up that much room. Put one under the sink in the bathroom. Put one by your bed. Hey, worst thing that happens is you throw them away because they expire.
Mm-hmm.
They don't cost that much. And make sure that for most RVs, the emergency hatch or emergency escape is in the bedroom. Make sure that you can open it.
Yep. I'd add get the longest set of jumper cables you can too, because you can always jump off your house batteries, or if you need to go from your car or the engine battery to the house batteries to pull a slide in, then you have that option to be able to do that.
Yeah. Has anybody in here watched Hitch Up and Tow's latest video? I talked about it on a couple of the live streams a few days ago. You got to watch Hitch Up and Tow's latest. I think it's still his latest video where they were going camping and how he hooks up his camper to his vehicle. Because that's amazing, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm just teasing it because it's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Hitch Up and Tow, go check them out. That video. It's not raining that hard yet. Well, we're getting shook like crazy, Shelly. Rain's coming down.
How's Talon doing?
She's right there.
Yeah, I imagine she's hunkered down.
She's hunkered down. The other thing that people may not realize they need to spend the money on is a sewer hose. Because the last thing you want to do is get a cheap junk sewer hose and have an issue, if you know what I'm saying, when you're dumping your black tank.
Yeah. I would also say have a backup sewer hose or an extension sewer hose, because I don't know who designs campgrounds, but some people are not very good at it. So your electric may be way at this end of your campsite, and your power and your dump is way at this end. So you got to choose which one's going to be the closest. So you need extensions of everything. You need an extension for your water, your power, your black tank. You need to be able to stretch farther than just the normal regular size 10-foot hose.
Yeah, you need, well, for what my experience has been, you need at least 50 feet of electric of whatever you have. 50, 30, you need at least 50 feet of it. And you need at least 50 feet of water hose. Because I've been to those places where I've got a 80-foot site and the electric is literally all the way in the back. Disney's Fort Wilderness is like this. The electric is at the very, very, very back of the site. And I thought something opened. That was had a ghost visiting me for a second. And the sewer is right in the middle of the site, halfway up. So there's no way you could go all the way to the back, because then you need a 30 feet of sewer hose, and nobody, you don't want to do 30 feet of sewer hose.
No.
And because you really want your sewer hose to be as short as possible for a lot of reasons. But that's what that's Disney. And another thing you need to have with your sewer hose is you gotta have the ability to elevate your sewer hose. This place we're here at is a great example, because the sewer connection is literally this high off the ground.
Yep.
So I have to get my hose from, I had to get my hose up that high. I mean, I'll have to bring out a lot of stuff to do that. And I mean, I got the stuff to do that, but it's a lot of work and a lot of effort if you're staying for one night, especially.
Yeah, and it's no fun trying to empty your tanks uphill.
Yeah. I did that this morning, the gray anyway.
Yeah.
But I got to do the black. I got to dump the black before tomorrow morning. So I'll be doing that uphill today.
Yeah. Not fun.
Well, not now, not right now, but later. Actually, I could honestly, if I didn't have the hose hooked up, don't tell anybody I told you this, but if I didn't have the hose hooked up, I could probably just dump it right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just walk away.
Just wash away. It won't even smell. It'll be dissipated so fast, it won't even have a chance to smell.
Generally, yes.
It depends on. Most of the time, a lot of them I've seen the little plastic one where it screws in. If you're to the city connection, that usually gets taken off or falls off. But generally, the one where it fills the tank is you want to keep a cap on that one so you don't have stuff falling into your fill nozzle. Yeah,
and on that same note, if you have a separate black tank flush connection, have a separate water hose just for that.
Good call.
or if whatever you're doing with your black tank should be specific for that black tank, water hose, whatever. Now there's check valves and backflow prevention and all that kind of stuff built into a lot of these rigs, but those things can fail, and you don't know they fail until you taste it.
Yeah,
so you don't want to do that.
So what we do is wherever we go, we have the water split valve. So I have my fresh water hooked to it. Then I have another hookup where I can hook my black tank flush to. So they're not even going in the same directions. Use a separate hose. All my black tank stuff goes in a black tote. So it's all color code your stuff. Make sure you're not going to accidentally use your freshwater hose for your black tank.
Yeah, and we do the same thing. Matter of fact, our black hose is one of those those hoses that shrink up.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take up a lot of room. And I got the same thing. I got a Y adapter. I got my freshwater hose and my water filter on that, and then I've got the hose for the black tank going the other way. And I have my water regulator actually, because my connections are in a bay, so my water regulator, my water hose stay connected to the panel all the time. I have a little basket that the water hose is in, and I just take the basket out and I pull the water hose to the connection and hook it, and I'm done. And I've got those Y adapters actually on both ends. So if I did want a freshwater hose, I do have a shower nozzle, but if I wanted a freshwater hose for whatever reason, I can just hook it up to the other Y adapter that's there. And so again, my black tank stuff is still over here separate, and I've got freshwater over here, and I've got two 25-foot freshwater hoses, one that's always hooked up, and then I got my spare.
Hey, and I'm just going to say something that is probably supposed to be common knowledge, but I see it all the time. Use gloves. Please use gloves. Use
gloves that are disposable is probably the best course of action.
Yeah.
Dustin's saying gloves. He's not saying use a pair of leather gloves or a pair of gardening gloves to mess with your black tank. No, he means gloves that can protect you from getting liquids touching your skin, contaminants touching your skin.
I am really surprised. I'm really surprised. I did not think, being RVing full time, that I would see as many people handling hoses without gloves as we have seen. It's crazy.
Now I use disposable gloves. I know a lot of people use regular gloves, and they keep regular heavier duty gloves. They keep separately. I just like to use disposables. That way, it's just one less thing to smell. And, and I have a pair of leather gloves I use when I'm running the water hoses and the power lines. And then I just put those disposable gloves. They're actually mounted on the side of the door to my wet bay. So I open up the wet bay. I pull out the gloves. I put them on. I do what I need to do. I've got hand sanitizer hanging right there too, so I can take the gloves off, throw them away, sanitize my hands right there, go inside. And great advice here. I'm pretty certain he's talking about when you're cleaning out your black tank, but it's great advice.
Yeah. So hey, look, they sell the gloves you're talking about in the in like Walmart or anywhere in like the medical and where the medicines and stuff. Now those are pretty thin. So what we use is we go to the paint section, the hardware section, Walmart, and they're thicker. So they're just like medical gloves, but they're thicker and more heavy duty. They're less likely to bust and break, because if your hands are sweaty or they're already wet, they're going to be harder to get on and off. They're more likely to tear them when you're trying to get on, those little thin medical gloves. So go get the painting gloves. They're a little thicker and they'll a little more durable.
Yeah, and those are, they're little things, but honestly, all that stuff we just talked about can save your life. Even wearing gloves. You're like, oh, that was so big deal. I'm like, well, honestly, you can get sick and you can die. Mm-hmm. Especially depending on your health conditions to begin with. And a lot of RVers aren't in the best health. Mm-hmm.
And especially if it's not just you in your rig. If it's multiple people in your rig, that's even more ways to get sick.
Yep, exactly. Exactly is. All right, guys. Well, it's been raining up a storm here. I'm trying to see if Traveling Down the Banisters is actually going live. I do not see a thumbnail for them, and I have not gotten a notification from them. So, last call for questions, folks. Never run. Woo! Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yep.
That ain't cool. Never wear your back roller empty your black tank. You may never see it again. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So we'll give a couple of seconds here for people to get one last chance in for a question. Again, Bob, thanks for coming up on here, teaching us about bots, so we can be more controlled by Umbrella Corporation and things like that. So
Yep.
we're just one step away from Terminator. That's what we're going for here. Oh,
Yep.
Transfer's moving to 7, so I don't know if anybody's coming on at right after us. So I don't know. Go have some fun. I mean, go offline somewhere and have the fun.
Yep.
Oh, Glenn wants to know why you were shaking your head, Bob.
I just so that you guys know I'm paying attention and I'm here. I'm just nodding my head in agreement. That's why.
That's right. That's right. So thanks a lot, guys. Stay safe. Stay warm. And we're going to see you all. Hopefully we'll see you all this Sunday night for our big 1,000 subscriber celebration. It's really a celebration about you guys, because it's you guys that make the channel possible, not us. So thanks a lot. Y'all have a good one, and we'll see you down the road.
See ya.